When listening to music, many people find they are drawn to artists because of a certain factor of authenticity they can connect or relate to. We like knowing an artist has worked for their success and that they've put a piece of themselves in the work to share with us. So, when a new artist gets smacked with the label of industry plant, that is a major turnoff for those listeners who value that legitimacy. In the world of social media, with fast moving trends and cancel culture, this is continually happening more and more. However, as the term industry plant becomes overused, it also loses its meaning. In the current pop and hip hop dominated music industry, there is virtually no way to escape what we think of as industry plants. To begin, it's important to establish what even is an industry plant. Definitions vary depending on the source, but for this case, I will define them as an artist who has a major indie label backing their movement, but presents themselves as a homegrown startup to create the illusion of an organic following. Industry plant is a relatively new term, first coined around 2013 and traced back specifically to the world of hip hop. When an artist is accused of being an industry plant, that is certainly not a compliment and is meant to diminish aspects of that artist's authenticity and credibility. The term often begins to be thrown around when a newer artist begins to have massive success virtually out of the blue. Due to its origins, this term is seen as especially offensive in the world of hip hop and rap. Many of these artists include an element of their backstory and life struggles to get where they are now in their work. And to say they have had the industry in their back pocket the whole time discredits much of that work or skill. The first major artist considered to be accused of being an industry plant was Chance the Rapper. He rose to fame so largely and quickly that many people began to speculate that this was a carefully manufactured and label-backed move. Even now, he struggles to escape this label. Since then, almost every newer artist who has made headlines has faced the industry plant accusation, which I will touch on more later. Billie Eilish, one of the biggest pop stars on the planet now, sparked a lot of conversation on industry plants back in 2018 when her debut single Ocean Eyes seemed to skyrocket out of nowhere. Some very recent artists currently facing the industry plant accusations include Clairo, Somber, Ice Spice, Benson Boone, and many more. It is no secret that labels, the business leaders, are at the forefront of all things music. The three major labels, Universal, Sony, and Warner, are in control of everything, from the songs that get put out to an artist's aesthetic campaign to what songs get placed on the most popular Spotify playlists. So, with the risk of their artist being labeled as a plant, it has now become important for the labels to present their artists as self-made and hardworking. Take Olivia Rodrigo, who now has two full albums but is still actively fighting the stamp of industry plant. She's been involved in the entertainment industry since she was very little and was a Disney Channel kid, like many other stars we know today. She has been in the business for years, and anyone who knows her knows she didn't come from nothing. She doesn't have that scrappy fight to get where you are story so many of us enjoy. However, her team is very strategic in the way they present her to help rectify these claims. She caters to a very strong younger audience, participating in social media and creating a nostalgic aesthetic to make her seem relatable and approachable. Olivia went through teen heartbreak, just like so many teens out there, so she has to be real. No matter who the artist or how authentic they may be, they will in fact be working closely with the industry. This term has just caused for new kind of strategic moves to avoid or diminish this label at all costs. If every major artist is undeniably working hand in hand with labels in the industry, does the term industry plant even matter? Usually, if an artist is big enough to attract this label, they're seeing an amount of success, meaning someone out there is listening to what they put out. And a lot of the time, non-avid or casual listeners are just going to continue listening to what is popular. At this point, no artist has had a career ruined by being labeled as a plant. So I would argue the label doesn't matter at all. In addition, breaking into the music business is a near impossible task. And by expecting artists to do it all by themselves, we are romanticizing what is an overly draining and difficult process. Does a major label stepping in equate that someone is not deserving of success? It seems that many people are beginning to use the phrases industry plant and mainstream artist interchangeably when they have two very different connotations in reality. So, if being an industry plant doesn't matter, can we just get rid of them? With the way the industry is structured, that is a highly improbable scenario. One of two things would need to happen. One, somehow the current label hierarchy is dismantled and a larger amount of independent labels take over. In this case, there would be a more equal distribution of power among all the labels, and the majors wouldn't have a majority of control anymore. Artists probably would have to put in even more of a fight to get noticed with all of these smaller labels competing with one another. However, this is extremely unlikely as the major labels are stronger than ever with the domination of the streaming platform. The other scenario would be for the general public to realize how redundant the term industry plant is and just drop it. This is also unlikely, as with social media culture, people find great amusement in cancel culture and conversations surrounding celebrity drama or secrets. And the idea of industry plants falls into this toxic category. So unfortunately, it looks like the industry plant will be here to stay. In summary, although industry plants have become an increasingly popular subject for social media discourse in the streaming-based music industry, the term really does not have any weight in determining an artist's worth or success. So the next time you hear an artist being deemed as fake or manufactured, stop and think about what that actually means and if that actually matters in the grand scheme of things. Thank you.